You didn't come here by accident. I am Archangel Michael, and I am speaking to you not through fear, but through clarity. Right now, something rare is unfolding. You have been given just a few moments, not to rush, but to awaken. This is not a threat. It is a moment of alignment. You've asked for a sign, waited for answers, questioned if heaven ever heard your voice. This message is the response. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it is real, and it won't come again in the same way. You are standing at a quiet edge. Behind you, everything familiar. Ahead, something greater, unknown, alive. The window before you is not wide, but it is open, and the choice to step through it is entirely yours. There have been signs before, and yes, you hesitated. You second-guessed your own knowing. You silenced your intuition for the sake of comfort. That's understandable. But now, you're being called again. And this time, there is no room for delay. This is your soul's invitation, not to be perfect, not to have all the answers, but to respond. Deep within, you already feel the pull. You don't need to explain it. You just need to say yes. The clock isn't ticking to scare you. It's ticking to remind you. Moments like this are sacred, and they don't last forever. The door is open, and you are standing in front of it. You've been marked by light for a long time. There's something different about you, and you've felt it for years. The quiet pull, the inner signal, the feeling that you were meant for more. But each time the invitation came closer, you hesitated. Not out of rejection, but out of uncertainty. You've stood at this doorway before. You've felt the shift, the inner fire, the sense that everything could change. And yet, something always made you wait. Fear, logic, the weight of what others might say. And so, the moment passed. But here it is again, not by coincidence, by grace, because heaven knows when a soul is still open, even if tired. You've been tested, you've been stretched, you've been patient with life, but life is now asking, will you remain in pause, or will you finally move? This isn't about blame, this is about readiness. Something inside you has grown stronger, even through delay. And now the atmosphere around you is different. You feel it. Time doesn't just pass, it pushes. The truth is this, your soul is done waiting. What once felt tolerable now feels tight. The places, the people, the patterns, they don't fit anymore. And that discomfort is not punishment. It's a signal. You are not late, but you are being called to stop postponing. This window is open now, not forever, not endlessly. Now, not all traps look dangerous. Some are disguised as comfort, logic, or even love. Some of the things holding you back are the very things you've trusted the most. Familiar voices, long-standing routines, people who smile while quietly dimming your light. Deception doesn't always shout. It whispers through habits. It hides behind what feels normal. You've grown used to carrying weight that was never yours. You've silenced your intuition to keep the peace. And yet, your spirit keeps stirring, because something deeper knows. This isn't it. You've tolerated what drains you, stayed loyal to situations that no longer honor you. Listened to advice rooted in fear rather than faith. Not because you're blind, but because you're kind. Because you've wanted to give everyone and everything a chance. But now you need to give that chance to yourself. To listen when something inside says, this isn't the way. To step back when the energy feels heavy. To question what you once accepted without thought. Freedom begins with honesty, and honesty begins when you admit not everything around you is what it seems. Not every opportunity is divine. Not every connection is aligned with your path. You are not being asked to cut everything away. You are being asked to see clearly, to protect your energy, to stop mistaking noise for guidance. When you see the truth, even quietly, that is where freedom begins. Some of the loudest doubts don't come from the outside. They rise from within, shaped by old pain, past voices, and moments where you were made to feel small. You've mistaken them for your own thoughts, but they are not yours. Not every voice in your head is truth. Not every hesitation is wisdom. Sometimes fear wears the mask of logic. Sometimes guilt sounds like responsibility. But when those voices leave you feeling heavy, weak, or trapped, they are not from your soul. You were never meant to carry all of that. You were never asked to earn your worth or to delay your path until you reached perfection. The fact that you are still listening, still searching, still open, that's enough. That's your proof of readiness. Pause and feel. Is this truly your voice or someone else's memory speaking through you? Are you moving from love or reacting from old wounds? There's no shame in realizing how much of your inner world has been shaped by fear. There's only power in recognizing it and greater freedom in releasing it. You don't need to fix everything before you move forward. You only need to be honest with yourself. And if something within you is beginning to shake, beginning to awaken, don't silence it. That's not weakness. That's your truth rising. You've spent a long time searching for signs outside yourself, waiting for confirmation, approval, or a clear voice to tell you what to do. But the most reliable guidance has always come from within, quiet, subtle, steady. The world is loud. Everyone has opinions, and circumstances press in from every angle. But when you fall into stillness, even for a moment, that's when you hear the truth, not as words, but as a calm knowing, a sense that something deeper is already clear. Real guidance doesn't demand attention. It doesn't push or rush. It arrives as presence, through peace, clarity, and a quiet strength that doesn't need to explain itself. And yet, that voice is often the one you've ignored the most. You've listened to fear, to pressure, to patterns dressed as logic. And in doing so, you've often walked away from what your soul already knew. But here's the good news. The light hasn't left. It waits. It doesn't blame. It simply invites. Now is the time to return to it, not by withdrawing from life, but by reconnecting with the part of you that already knows the way forward. This part doesn't shout. It doesn't compete. It simply speaks. And when you listen, everything begins to realign. What you're sensing now isn't confusion. It's awakening. Don't dismiss it. Don't walk past it. The voice you've been seeking has been speaking all along, from within you. Not every shift is dramatic. Sometimes life feels still right before everything begins to change. The silence you feel isn't always peace. It can be a signal. A warning that what looks stable on the outside is quietly breaking on the inside. There have been moments where you felt the edge approaching, a tension you couldn't explain, a restlessness you couldn't quiet. That wasn't anxiety. It was your spirit recognizing that what once fit you no longer does. The mind tries to calm it down, telling you to wait, to be patient, to keep things steady. But the soul knows. It knows when something is ending. It knows when a chapter has closed, even if the world hasn't noticed yet. The most dangerous fall isn't the one others see. It's the silent one, the slow fading of clarity, the quiet resignation, the inner detachment that happens when we ignore the truth for too long. And by the time we notice, it's harder to return. But you're not there yet. You still feel, you still hear, and that's enough. This moment isn't the collapse. It's the wake-up call before it. You're not being punished. You're being invited to shift before you're forced to. You already know what's slipping. You already sense what's no longer serving you. This is not weakness. It's wisdom. Honor it. Because the earlier you respond to the truth, the more gracefully you can rise. Some doors don't stay open forever. Not out of punishment, but because your soul reaches certain moments where everything aligns. Urgency, readiness, clarity, and pain. These moments are rare, and you are in one now. You've been circling this threshold for a while. You've felt the pull, the restlessness, the glimpse of something more. But every time you came close, something held you back. Doubt, comfort, the hope that you could wait a little longer. But this moment isn't like the others. You feel that. You sense it. This isn't about making a decision later. This is about trusting the opening now, while it's still present. Some spiritual invitations only come once in a form your heart truly understands. The world will tell you to pause, to be careful, to gather more certainty. But waiting is no longer neutral. Waiting is now a choice with consequence. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need full confidence. You only need to admit that your soul is done hesitating. Something inside you has outgrown your current reality. That's why it feels so tight. The door is here, right now. It's not asking you to run through it, only to acknowledge it and respond. A single step is enough to shift your entire direction. This is your invitation, and it won't look the same again. Your pain has meaning. It's not here to break you, but it can be misused. When you're unaware of who or what is feeding it, your pain can become a leash, holding you in patterns you've outgrown. Some pain is honest. It signals that you've stayed too long in something that no longer honors you. It rises when your soul whispers, "This isn't right anymore." That kind of pain is sacred. It pushes you toward healing. But some pain is manipulated. It's kept alive by fear, by old beliefs, by people who benefit from your silence. It shows up as guilt when you try to walk away, as shame when you begin to change, as hesitation when freedom is near. You've been carrying burdens that were never meant to be permanent, and now the weight is no longer teaching you, it's draining you. You don't need to fight the pain, you only need to stop letting it define your path. You're not weak for feeling deeply. You're human, and your sensitivity is not a flaw, it's your signal system. But it's time to take back your authority over what your pain gets to control. Bless the pain for what it taught you, but don't let it keep you from what's next. You're not leaving anything behind that's real. You're leaving behind the story that said you had to suffer to be worthy. That story ends now. I am not here to frighten you. My voice does not come to threaten, it comes to awaken. Sometimes the soul needs to be stirred, not comforted. Sometimes what shakes you is what saves you. You've heard the gentle nudges before. You've felt the subtle whispers, but they were easy to ignore, easy to postpone. Now the message comes clearer, stronger, not to harm you, but to reach the part of you that can no longer stay asleep. Truth doesn't always arrive wrapped in softness. Sometimes it sounds like a blade cutting through illusion. Not to wound you, but to free you from what was never real. That is what my voice is now, not a warning of doom, but a call to wake up fully. You've asked for guidance. This is it, not as an answer from above, but as a mirror to what's already rising within you. You're not being forced, you're being invited, urgently, but lovingly. The tension you feel is not danger, it's resistance melting. The discomfort isn't a bad sign. It means truth is touching something inside you that's ready to shift. Do not fear my presence. I come with light. But light doesn't always arrive quietly. Sometimes it bursts in to remind you what you've forgotten. You were made for more, and you're ready now. Not everyone will hear this, not everyone is ready. But if these words stir something in you, then you're already waking. And in that, there is hope. You've brushed against this moment before, sensed it, almost stepped into it, but then pulled back. You were waiting for clarity, for courage, for timing. But this isn't about waiting anymore. This is about answering. Your soul is ready. The patterns you once tolerated now feel suffocating. The things that used to comfort you no longer resonate. That's not confusion. That's awakening. The shift has already begun inside you. Now you must choose to let it move through you. You don't need to make dramatic changes overnight. You don't need to prove anything. What matters is that you say yes to what your spirit already knows. Even a quiet yes has the power to reroute your entire life. Stop watching your own transformation from a distance. Step into it. Trust it. Let it carry you. This is the moment that separates the asleep from the aware, not through judgment, but through response. No one can choose this for you, no one can force it. But if you feel the invitation, if you feel something undeniable rising in you, then this is your time. Don't delay it again. Those who wake now will not be lost. They will be led. The divine has always been close. You felt it, in quiet moments, in sudden peace, in the sense that something beyond you is guiding your steps. But proximity is not the same as permission. Presence waits for your response. God doesn't force doors open. He doesn't drag souls into alignment. He invites, patiently, lovingly, but even divine patience reaches a moment when it steps back, not out of anger, but out of respect for your freedom. You've asked for signs. This is one. You've waited for a feeling. It's here. You don't need to overthink it. You only need to recognize that this is not an ordinary moment. Something sacred is pressing gently on your heart, and it won't wait forever. Some invitations are once in a lifetime, not because you're unworthy if you miss them, but because your soul is most ready now. Later, the energy will shift. The window may close, and the same voice may be harder to hear. The longer you hesitate, the quieter the pull becomes. Not because God turns away, but because your awareness grows numb. The more you ignore, the easier it is to forget what clarity feels like. This is not fear, this is urgency rooted in love. The divine is speaking, not loudly, not with pressure, but with absolute precision. You are being called now, not to be perfect, just to be present, to say yes. While the door is still open, everything is ready, the path is clear, support is near. But none of it means anything without your response. No one else can decide this for you. This is your moment, your soul, your turning point. Nothing that led you here was random. Every delay, every struggle, every whisper of something more. It was all preparing you for this exact invitation. You're not late. You're right on time. But now, it's your move. You've postponed long enough. You've waited for a better time, for a stronger version of yourself, for some sign that it's safe to change. This is that sign. This is the moment you've been circling for years. You don't have to know how everything will unfold. You don't have to feel ready. What matters is your willingness to say yes to what's rising inside you now. That willingness holds more power than any plan or guarantee. This is not about striving. It's about surrendering to truth, letting go of what you thought you had to be, letting yourself become who you already are beneath the weight of fear. The divine is not asking you for perfection, only for permission, to move, to guide, to unfold the next chapter with you, not without you. You are not alone. You never were. But you must choose to walk forward. You must choose to respond to what you feel right now. This isn't just another moment. It's the moment, and the choice is you.